everybody, I saw First Man this weekend. I didn't have time for a review then, so I'm going to go ahead and try to knock this one out real quick for you. First Man is directed by Damien Chazelle, most notably noted for La La Land and Whiplash. Two movies, if I'm being honest with you, I've never had the chance or opportunity to see. And stars Claire Foy, Jason Clarke, and Ryan Gosling, and is a story based on the life of Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. The events that happened before his famous journey, the sacrifices made, and the toll it took on the man himself, his family, and his private life. I wouldn't say First Man is something I'd recommend you run out to the theaters and see unless you're a big space enthusiast like myself and you want to see the lunar landing effects on the big screen. The movie starts in 1961 with the death of Armstrong's then 3-year-old daughter Karen due to a tumor, a moment that will set the tone for the entirety of this film. A tone that is probably my biggest complaint about this film, and most likely the main reason the movie really kind of disappointed me as much as it did, which is Neil Armstrong portrayed by Ryan Gosling as a depressed, stone-faced, bottled-up asshole. Pardon my language, but that is what this is. A direction that did not sit well with me. I'm not sure if this was Ryan Gosling's choice or the direction of Chazelle, or if Armstrong was actually this way. But the move really disconnected me from Armstrong, a character I typically would feel I should be behind. It's not that Gosling's performance was bad per se. He does an excellent job as playing Armstrong as a stoic man. But his depiction of the man, that was my main complaint with this movie. If the movie does have a bright spot, it would be the performance by Claire Foy, who plays Armstrong's wife Janet. There's a moment with Neil and Janet before the mission where she literally has to force Armstrong to say goodbye to his children before he leaves on the mission, knowing good and well he may never make it back. That personifies Foy's portrayal of Janet as a strong female character throughout this movie. That being said, there are probably more than a half dozen times during the film where I wondered why. Why wouldn't you just leave him? He's such an unlikable guy. I can see it in your eyes. You really want to, but you just don't. The film also takes time to introduce us to other men behind the NASA mission, like Ed White, as Neil's best friend who was tragically killed in an interior fire during a launch test. But what confused me was how and why they would wait so long to introduce the other crew members of the Apollo 11 mission, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. Both play minimal roles in Neil's life and are barely touched on in this movie. Aldrin is introduced to us about, I'd say, halfway through the film, and I didn't even know who Michael Collins was until the actual mission to the moon. Another bad decision was a choice to use handheld cameras, not just for the space scenes, which, okay, I get it. It's the 1960s. We launched men into space in what would be considered by today's technological standards as metal trash cans. Things are going to rattle. Things are going to shake. But the choice to bring the shaky cam back down to earth in every scene of this movie to try to create some sort of feeling of realism, to me took away from that intensity it was supposed to create in space. It's kind of like crying wolf. If it's shaky all the time, why should I be worried? Now back to the good stuff though. The moon and the effects used here were gorgeous. You really felt like you were watching men land right on the moon. One in particular shot of the moon from a distance where it took up, I'd say, roughly about half of the movie screen. And you could see the capsule and the tiny little lunar landing. It just made the moon look so majestic. It was really awesome to see. But like I said earlier, it's nothing I would feel the need to go rush out and see. I would say this movie could be easily just as enjoyable in the privacy of your own home on the small screen. I'll give First Man a C+. Thanks guys for coming out and checking out my review of First Man. Stay tuned for more reviews just like this one. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button and join the quest.